Phoenix 251. Starts with e3. So the natural follow-up with e3 is d4. So I could play this like a queen's pawn opening, I suppose. Pretend like he's doing something normal here. Yep, there he goes. So it could be a Kala system. Not a Kala system. It's a bit unusual. Normally when they play knight c3, they want to play e4. But he can still play e4 at a later date. Kind of wondering if I can play e5 in this situation. Let's start with this move. It keeps his knight from coming in here. It stops any checks against my king along that diagonal. So yeah, I'll just play e5 here. And that allows easy development of my dark squared bishop. I will take the free piece. Okay. He's going to play on. I almost missed that. But I mean, yeah. I mean, it was a tempo move when I played knight takes, hitting his bishop. Yeah, it looks like he's going to play on a pawn down. Well, let's see what kind of game we get here. I'll play it. I mean, a piece down. Piece for a pawn. Oh, not he doesn't even have a pawn for it. It's just a pure piece down. Or not. I only have 3 pieces there. What happened? I have 4 pieces here. Oh, it was defended. Okay. I'm sorry. I was just, I don't know. Don't know what I was thinking. Okay. So we have a bit of asymmetry in the position. He is threatening to push that pawn and fork my 2 pieces here. Let's move the bishop out of the way in advance. I mean, I could also have put my rook here, I guess, but that would tend to lead to a loss of the dark squared bishop. Now I'm thinking if he pushes the pawn, I can play here, knight to d5. And if he takes, I can take the bishop here first, I think. That's if he pushes the pawn. Okay, but anyway, I was very confused earlier, so we'll see. We'll see how this goes. So I don't have any advantage here, except I do have the bishop here. He has an extra pawn in the center. Development is slightly better for white. He's got a rook on an active file, and I don't yet have that. Both sides castled. So it looks like he's taking a moment to consider his options. He stepped the queen out of the way. So maybe he was worried that in that sequence I would end up trading queens. Okay, let's put a rook here. This is one of those situations where queen on c7 might not be good because the knight can come to here or here, taking advantage of a pin. And a loose bishop. So I was thinking if he puts a rook here, maybe I'll play the queen all the way out to a4 here. Bring the queen out here. Okay, he decides to pin my knight. Yeah, I didn't prevent that. I mean, I could take his knight, mess up his pawns, and let him do the same to mine. Is there some trick? If the bishop were on this diagonal, there'd be a trick, right? Maybe. Okay, let's kick his bishop and see what it does. If he attacks my queen, I can still go to e7. Aha, so he wants to keep the pin. Let's just take that guy. And yeah, maybe he's going for some kind of counterattack here on the dark squares. On the G file. Now if the knight moves to attack my queen, at least my bishop is not hanging. I'm thinking maybe queen into f4. So I'm guessing he will play bishop g3, which will block his G file. So I will be okay with that and step aside with the queen. Well, he is taking his time. That's good, I guess. Let's see, the pawn push. I didn't really consider that enough. He pushes a pawn, I take. Then he can skewer here. But I take the rook with check. I guess that's a pin rather than a skewer, but yeah, the bishop along that diagonal. There he goes. Okay, that was the move I was expecting. So we step here. Then maybe bring the knight out to harass his bishop. He can harass my bishop and maybe pick up a pawn here somehow. But I want to get my queen to this f6 square and attack the weak f3 pawn. Yeah, I don't want to give up that good bishop. Can I put it on this diagonal? Maybe here. Go here and then here. It's on the diagonal looking at his king there. Can drop back to b6 to be protected. Still queen f3, queen f6 looks like a threat. Well, I mean, it is a threat to take here. I don't know if it's a threat to take there. Anyway, yeah, so he goes that way. We have knight f4 check. Be nice to get rid of his defender there without... that was his plan. So knight f4 check. If the king moves, I can bring my knight here to block his rook from hitting my queen. And if he takes, then I take back with the queen. So I think I have time for that. Yeah, he moved his king, so my idea was knight here. Now I'm hitting this pawn again. Also thinking of bringing the bishop to c7 with a kind of skewer here. He can attack my queen, yeah. But he didn't defend this pawn, so let's take it. It's with check. Been missing things like this lately. So knight here threatens mate. Let's put the bishop here first. No. Guess that doesn't really help. With the knight out of the way here, bishop to c7 would threaten to win this pawn. So I think he has to take here, because how else is he going to prevent queen there mate? Now I'm threatening to take here. And I can grab this pawn. He could maybe get a pawn back here. Yep. Okay, so if I take here, do I have a check? I have a check. Oh, but it's defended. Okay. Take there with check and take the rook. Would have been a nice tactic, but the knight was defending the rook. He has to take my bishop, so he won't have time to take this pawn. So check, and then go after this one. He takes this one, I take this one. I don't know. So I push the pawn first, because when he attacks my pawn, I want to be able to push it forward. Where it is defended, well, let's just run it then. His king is trying to get over here. Okay, let's get these pawns going. Got an extra pawn over here. As long as I can hold him off on this side, then I should be okay. I can't get any closer to my rook. Oh, he played there just in time. Okay, so I take here. And I'll go here. Check and take pawn. Oh ho, he goes there. Yeah. This guy's got some moves, I have to admit. Let's keep his king screened out here. 3 pawns against 2 is often a draw when the pawns all on one side of the board, but in this case his king was out of play. So I don't believe it was actually a draw. Threatening check and take rook. Then I have an easily winning king and pawn endgame. Well, he's gonna tough it out here. He resigned. Okay. Well, that was an interesting game. Let's see if we can get another one. In spite of my confusion, I managed to survive. Yeah, I think d4. And d4, g6. Okay, he could be going for King's Indian. Or a Grinfeld. I'm not sure about this. I'll just gain a tempo on his queen here, I guess. Victor Vic. Don't know what the plan is here. I see. Knight here, he can pin it. It's not a Grinfeld because he never, took my knight and did all that stuff that they do in the Grinfeld. Let's stop the pin then. And develop. Put the bishop here on this diagonal. If I put it here, defending this pawn, it blocks Queen's view of the d pawn, or I could go here. I think this looks like the more active post for the bishop, and I want to get castled in this situation. Things are looking like they're a bit open in the center. And then Victor Vic, is he going to slow down at some point? Not yet. I mean, it's a rapid game. We have 10 minutes and we have 5 seconds increment, and he's not using any time so far. Yeah, it was interesting when he played c6. It prevented him from bringing his knight there and putting pressure on my d-pawn. But that being said, what am I going to do? I could push my e-pawn forward. It's an interesting idea in this situation because if he puts a knight here, I can take it and just win a pawn. And where else is he going to go? Is he going to go all the way back? He is. Okay. So, but he is going to play c5 at some point to break up this pawn structure in the center. So I'm going to go ahead and trade off his dark squared bishop. This is the play that Black is going for as he's trying to enhance the power of that dark squared bishop. I mean, there's another interesting idea here. Knight here to this square, but he's got that covered. Maybe after this knight moves, I can try this. Yeah, so now he's going to put a piece on this square. I can see that. When he does, I'm just going to move my bishop here to trade off his bishop. And he's just noticed that this square is uncovered, and he's starting to think for the first time, it looks like. Then he goes there. Yeah, so I don't want to trade that necessarily, although I have that option. I think I would like to just get rid of this bishop here. leave this guy here for the moment. I mean, it can jump into d6 at some point, and that may be a good move. But it seems that it's not in a hurry. So he plays there. So when I take en passant, he'll take with the knight. So yeah, normally I like to take en passant in these situations, but here doesn't seem like it's the best response. Let's just save my knight, and I'm going to take his bishop next. If his bishop retreats, I'll take the rook. So his bishop is not getting away, his dark squared bishop. And then there's no bishop that can take that knight, so the only way he'll be able to get rid of it is to attack it with another knight. Might be a thorn in his side for quite a while. Okay, he brings his queen up, looking at my weak pawn here. Potential weak pawn. So can I get my queen to one of these squares? Maybe his idea is just to push the c-pawn again. Knight here or here. Queen here. Queen here looks at this square, which would be available if I got rid of this knight. Let's play queen here first. See if he plays some weakening move like h6. And if he doesn't, I will take his knight and play queen to e7. If he blocks the check with the rook, I can take the pawn. So he does that with his queen. So if I take the queen, he has to take back with the rook. And I can bring the knight in here. My queen is defended, so I don't have to take right away. How about if I take this knight, he takes back somehow. Now let's activate my rook. This is a loose pawn here. I spotted a loose pawn. When my knight takes back, it's attacking a loose pawn here too. So he's got a couple of hanging pawns. Let's see how he solves his problems. He doesn't. Okay, so, well, that defended this one. He solved one of his problems. I think taking here is good. Take the bishop. He takes back with rook or knight, and take here with check, winning the exchange back. But if he takes with this rook, well, then I take with the knight. So now take the bishop first. If he takes the knight, I take a rook. If he takes back, I take the pawn. See, he takes with this rook. So I take the bishop, I'm a piece up. He takes back, he's exchange up. I take back. Well, as soon as this pawn goes, it goes with check. And then this knight is loose. Things fell apart for black here, I think. So when I take this rook, he's a whole rook down. He didn't even move his king to where it could take back. Maybe there was a problem. I see. He's going to take my knight. Can always take this pawn with check first and then take his knight back. Yeah, he resigned. Let's take a brief look at this. Say the king comes here to take my knight. I can take this knight. I don't have to take the other one, and that's hitting his rook. Now his knight is hanging, his rook is hanging, and my knight is hanging. But I've got an extra piece here. I don't see how he gets out of this one. Plus I have all those pawns. So that was a nice game. I like that finish. We got enough time here for a quickie. We could play 3+2 Blitz. Haven't done one of those in a while. Actually, I think I did one of those in my last stream and I got into trouble in a hurry. This is a way to lose rating points for me because I don't play as well at this faster time control. But sometimes these games are entertaining. Okay, so I can do the pawn fork trick, right? Knight takes pawn, knight takes knight, pawn here. Yeah, is that a trick that's going to work? The queen could check from over here and take this pawn. I don't believe it works, but I could be wrong. Oh, he just takes there. So there are queen checks here and here. I think you can play d4 in this position. d4, queen check, you just step back. Queen check here, you step to the side. You get a big center. That's why this line is not particularly good for black. Even though it looks like white's king is getting chased around. Yeah, that's a reasonable response. So the idea is that he wants to play this pawn forward so that the bishop can come out, but or support the knight there. But he can't do that with the pin. So I need to retreat my bishop. I think I'll just put it here. Maybe I should have taken his knight. The knight is still hanging. Yeah, if he pushes the d pawn forward to, yeah, he just takes. Makes sense. So I'm going to put my rook here, put my king back, castling by hand. Wanted to get the king out of the way. before developing my bishop. The bishop kind of wanted to go here, but this knight check was always going to be annoying when my king was here. And let's develop the bishop here then. Now let's kick his knight first. Kick that knight. We have opposite colored bishops. So, yeah, I just want to trade that knight off, I think. I want to get my bishop out to a good post and not have to worry about his knight harassing it. Could have grabbed a pawn. He defended it. Okay. Still play a4 and try and harass that pawn there. I can also play queen here, threatening to take on h6. Maybe that's better in this situation than grubbing for pawns. These pawns are going to be weak for a long time, so. Let's focus on the king side. Yeah, I could still take here. He takes back and then play my rook up to screen his queen out. And go for the checks. Here, let's try it. It's a blitz game after all. It's just kind of a nice move, right? The way it's a threatening mate. And it's also just blockading his king. I mean, his queen. Blockading his queen from getting into the game. Yep, so I thought the check here. So the light squared bishop is over on the other side of the board. It would like to help out, but it's finding it difficult. Yes, he can go there. So now, is he escaping? Okay, if I step up and he puts the rook there and I check here, once again, let's double this way. Try something else. Queen here would also threaten to take there. That would be pretty devastating too. Took me a while to find it. There was probably a more efficient way to do that, but I think it was a good sacrifice. Oh, getting fancy. Just take back with the queen. So I'll just win by force of material here. His bishop is still out of play. I can still take here or here. Okay, can I do something clever here? Just push the pawn. So if I push, He takes, I queen. I take, he takes, I push. He stops me, huh? Okay, let's take another pawn. And we'll take some other pawn. Aha. He's going to keep fighting. Okay, we're just going to push these pawns. He's going to try and mate me here. I guess this is not going to work. Yeah, I can push this one. Oh, black won by timeout? Well, that's a cheap way to win. Of course, he's completely losing here because he just played this move. And I can just take it. Or I could take his rook. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Okay, well, that's the trouble with playing these blitz games that are too fast. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you next time. Bye now.